Okay, let's pray. Father God, we thank you again for today. Be with us when we study your words and also a lot of things about the church and how going to serve you. Give us the wisdom, the understanding. I lift up all students before you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay. Now today we on week 8 or chapter 8 of supervision. Today we talk about lead a team through change. Why we need to learn about this situation. The reality is the church in change all the time. For example, someone die, something start, some program end, some program start. It's all change. And the worst of all the changes is when you lost your pastor and the new pastor come in. That is a big change. And a lot of study in America tell us that when you lost your pastor or your pastor resigned, you will lose about half of your membership within a year. So why you going to lose a lot? Well, a lot of time the pastor leave because of problem. So when the pastor leave, half of the church will take side with the pastor and live with him. Might not go to the same church, but they go to a new church anyway. And even no problem, the pastor just leave because of other reason. Some of the members who like the pastor so much, his teaching, his preaching, will leave anyway, because they don't want to deal with the new pastor or new changes or new situation. They better go and shopping around, find a church that they like, better than try to stick with the new one and try out that they like or not. So that is American way. But if you apply that fact to different culture, it might make some sense, because every changes in church, it affects everyone, physically, emotionally, and relationship. So any change come, you need to prepare, because you will lose some. But in the same time, it's a new chapter, a new challenge. You can gain some and learn something new by that change that coming. Now we live in all the situation that change come all the time, big or small. It's just how you adjust to them and learn from them. Why we say that, why it's so important that I say already that change can be opportunity or change can be a death sentence. It depends on how you're ready or not. Now you see that our government always tell us to get ready. In California, we have earthquake. Fire. Now another thing, every year is fire. Wi-Fi. I don't talk about Wi-Fi that we use for our internet, but we're talking about the real fire that burn in our forest, our jungle, that come to the city every year. And that is changed when things come. And a lot of time we don't want change. We're not ready for change. So they try to make us feel secure by saying that, well, we don't need to change much, but when we're ready, anything is okay. So this is the thing that we learn about life. Be ready for things that not stable. Now some advice to start with. How to prepare your team, your church for the change that's coming. Now this is the first step is you need to have a strong leadership team. Mean that your team that running the church need to be very strong, work together very well. But now if the problem comes from the team itself, like you have to change the leadership in the whole team, now you have big problem. When your team is in the process of changing, you lose a lot of morale. A lot of people feel disheartened and might feel giving up. I don't want to do anything anymore. So if you don't have a good team to start with, you already have a big problem, especially when the change comes to the team itself or the leader of the team, the pastor, the team leader, going to quit or resign. This is a big blow, a big challenge to the whole church. So now, if you're going to lose someone, if you have enough time, what can you do? Find a new leader or appoint someone to be the interim. You cannot leave the position open. Either you cannot find a permanent one, you need to find a temporary one to replace that position right away. It's like now you have a big leak from your pipe. What can you do? You cannot change it now, but you have to do something to stop the leak temporarily. So temporary leadership or the interim need to replace someone that leave the team right away. Secondly, bring in outside help. Sometimes you need to get help from some expert or someone that the church rely on to come to step in to help at a certain time. So people look up to someone that they respect. And in some situation, you need to ask help from outside to help stabilize your team or your church situation. That's the second option that you have to do. The third one, recruit from within, mean that find someone inside that can replace or temporarily do the job that you're going to lose or you already lost. So from inside. Four, they say that make a plan. What that mean? Mean that plan ahead. Don't wait until problem happen and then you plan. Now you can plan now. If your leader lead, what you shall do? What can you do? Or if somebody in your team cannot do the job, what you going to do? So it's like a plan B to replace the plan A if something doesn't work. So you need to have something ready to take place. Designate a point person. Now, this is something that in your team that you decide that if something happened to the leadership, someone needs to step up right away, at least in the position of temporarily substitute to lead the team, at least for a short time. Hold a meeting. They say that always have to talk with the team. Don't let everyone assume that what we're going to do next. Call them in and talk. Let them share what they feel and what they think that what we should do next. 7, educate and explain. So you need to let people know what happened and what option we have. So this is something, some guideline that help the church in line, or the people or the member will know that, oh, we not in the dark. We know what happened and what option we have. So explain to them so they understand the situation well. Transition team. A big church or the big company, they can do that. But if you are small, you cannot have a transitional team. Mean that another team that come to work temporarily. Well, in small church or small group, you just have a few people. You cannot have a substitute team for everything. But at least someone needs to step in to help to take part of that work that someone's going to lead. Prioritize mean that something we can wait, but something important to deal with, we have to do now. When you lose someone in your team or your team lost people, we cannot do everything. We cannot function fully anymore. So you need to select what can wait, what can do, and what have to do now. So this is the prioritize. Provide resources. Well, let people know that help over there and advice over there. It's not just about money or material thing. It's also about counseling and advice. We always think that no, we don't lack of everything. We have money, we have resources, but no, people need a lot about emotional support now, or prayer support. So this is something that a lot of time we overlook. We need to provide someone that available to pray with the team or pray for the team and advice, spiritual advice or counseling available. You heard all the time that when they have a mass shooting at school, one thing they let the family and the student know is they have counselor available to give advice or counseling to anyone that need it, because they are in shock. And you cannot just say that, okay, we send you to the hospital and heal your wound and take care of all the gunshot, everything, but emotionally, people need it. In church, a lot of time, we overlook the spiritual need, emotional need of the people in that time of change. 11, the church still have to keep going. You cannot stop the church. Every Sunday, every Wednesday, or every other day that the program have to go on. People still need all those things. You cannot say that, no, we don't have enough people. We don't going to do this, going to do that. We still have to have worship service. We still need to do the function of the church. It's just we cannot do fully or with all the support team, but we still have to keep going. So this is some advice, 11 steps that the church or your organization need to take in order to keep functioning while changing happen in your team or in your organization. So 11 of them, it's practical. I just want you to think that which one that you overlooked them in the past, or anyone that your church have done. So that 2 questions. The first question is, which point that your church overlooked and never use it, never done it. And each point that your church have done very well on that, from that 11 point of suggestion when change come to your church or your organization. How you keep it going, how you respond to change that coming. What you do, how you do it. Okay, you remember them or you have the sheet with you? I will ask you if you have some response. I will stop a little bit here and come to you. So from all the 11 points, which one that your church have been doing it very well? And which one your church overlooked? Never done it. Never think about it. And why? Yeah, Nathan?
I have example that you mentioned about when the pastor leave and some people will follow him. In France, where my uncle lived, they have a big church, and the pastor was quite young. He was about, I would say about 40, and very popular, and he was really gifted. So he built the church, and you know, in France, normally after 7 years, they move you to somewhere else. So they move him to another city, and there's one older pastor, came to replace him. Well, I think that pastor was good too, but I think he's not as he's different person. So that new pastor came in and he could not feel the shoes because I think the congregation kind of expected more, and the new pastor ended up had a depression and he had to take some leave of absence, and he ended up retired earlier. So yeah, it happens.
You know that the study in America is typical American pastor will last in a church for around 3 years. Average. Some might longer, some might less, but average about 3 years. They change church. So the church went through, you might call that divorce every 3 years. It's like your children. First divorce one time is already bad enough. If your mom or your dad divorced every 3 years, now you have serious problem. Yeah.
What's the purpose of moving a pastor so often? What's the reason?
Well, if you come from the mainline churches like Presbyterian, Methodist, Episcopal, Lutheran, they will keep moving you like music chair. That's their policy. They don't want you to be popular, to be powerful in one church. They just want you to feel that you are just a servant, that they send you loaded, you like soldier. They don't let any soldier, so they stay anywhere too long. So they use the same understanding that the pastor should not be in any church too long, 3 to 5 years maximum, and they move you somewhere else. That's the main line. Yes, Evan.
I forgot, is it 3 or 4, John? Some of the pastor has been there, then they're comfortable where they're at, and then they don't want to make any new changes, and it's pretty tough for a member or for a newcomer to tell them, to tell them this is the new technology, this is the way, please understand, this is how we're gonna, move forward, but they've been there so long that they feel, comfortable already, and that is why they didn't want to change. And also about number 11. I'm not going to mention any name, but I heard and I saw it myself that they completely closed the sanctuary and then, take a vacation, because it's either their own family, or then their own, surrounding their own members that they know, each other, that is why they can close the sanctuary and they just, take a month of vacation or something.
Well, you know that there are many studies going on. Aaron have a point that if you stay there too long, you get used to it and you don't want change. You don't want to do anything new, because every time when you change or learn new things, you take a lot of effort, a lot of work. So that's true, but a lot of study coming out that the church that's stable is the church that have a team for a long time, many years. Why? The reason is when you have changed the member, the church need about 3 years to adjust, to stabilize, to learn. Now, after 3 years, they start forming, working, now change again. So if you have change all the time, the church never stabilize, never have a chance to grow. Because in that 3 years of changes, they're losing people. They're losing morale. They have to relearn, readjust. But if you do that every 3-4 years, the church will never survive, cannot grow. It just barely survive.
I understand that, Ajahn, but the church is not how you call alive. I mean, it just barely going, this day by day. But it's I'm saying that not completely change the whole elders, leaders, but then have to take some input. From the members, or then from the choirs, or there's somebody that is in the members. But it is very hard.
Well, the healthy church need to change, but how much that the church can take it? It depends on different churches. But the healthy church always change. It just a little bit at a time, and the church can take the effect or the consequence of change. You know that there's a price to pay for change. Whenever you change, you pay the price.
Sure.
So you need to evaluate that the price you're going to pay worth the thing that you're going to get or not.
Thank you, Ajahn.
You're welcome. So Kat want to say something?
Yeah, John, sorry about attending school tonight. So we are in Canada, Toronto right now. We have a conference.
Okay.
So our mission about the revival of Mian people in Toronto. So we still have a conference right now. So I just let John know about this, and please pray for, and then whatever. So please, we have a successful in our journey. Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Or the men have the conference there about Mien Bible.
Yeah, because we do have Toronto here, Ontario, about 120 people in this. And then we have about 100 people in BC, in Vancouver. So that's why right now, about the pastor passed away, and then there's look like the church will be, will be discontinued. So that we have to come to the Canada to do the revival, to bring them up again. That's why, Ajahn, please pray for it.
Yeah, that's the example of a big change. The pastor did not quit, but the pastor died.
Yes. Yep. Thank you, John.
Welcome. I heard my echo. Any of you have two computers next to each other?
I think it's care. I don't think it is from us, Ajahn.
Okay. Yeah, when you have two computers on Zoom next to each other, it will echo back and forth. Okay, what's else that you see in your church that your church have been prepared for change? Or anything in your church that you think that they're not ready? They did not prepare. They did not have anything that they're supposed to have. You might not need everything though, because this is the advice for big church. But most of us are small churches. You need to have a few of them ready when change comes. So if you have to pick about 3, which one will you pick? out of that 11, I feel that if you can pick just 3, the first one is you need to have someone that ready to step up, to take over some certain job that you lose, at least temporarily. And the church need to accept that, someone that can step in all the time if change comes. And you need to have some kind of plan ahead of time. Don't wait until you have big change and then try to think what can you do. Think ahead. If thing come, change come, what you have to do. Plan ahead. And let people know in advance that thing can happen. But we have a plan ready. Why? Because people will feel better, feel secure that we already have a plan ahead of time if something happens. And the last thing I say that the church have to go on, no matter what. The service, the activity of the church have to continue. You cannot take a break when change come or thing come. The church still have to keep function. The people still need the church. So, Poon.
อาจารย์ครับอาจารย์ so I have the beginning in the church, the same thing, the problem number 11. Doesn't mean very hard come to me. That's 2004 and 5. We have pastor in the India. So he speak Thai. He come help us come in the church. He worked for about 6 months. He just come to me, I say, I'm thank you for everything, and he say goodbye. So nobody, I don't know how to, prepare anything that day. So, I go talk with the pastor, American pastor, and he said, how can I do pastor? So pastor leave. He come ask me, about you, how you think? I say, thank God, I say, okay, we have to go on. Going on. That's that time I still at school with the Jan too. I go to school and work full time. Say okay, I'm continue. So until I keep work, I come, try my best. How to serve God, how to prepare the sermon. I keep start everything new. I'm very weak. The first week I go to priest. I'm sick for 3 days. But we thank God until now. So that's a very hard time. So that we are pastor leave, very, very hard time. So we don't have nobody knows how to prepare anything, just everything. But in my heart, say we have to go on. So until now, thank God. That's in my life. Thank you.
Yeah, number 4 and number 11 and number 5 designated appointed person. I think is a good, like for instance, same situation like Poon when the pastor leave to another country, and then they have some lay pastor who's going to not speak our language too. That is hard, and that pastor they have a plan also leaving, and then leave me along with bunch of first time is I feel like I'm scared too, like being taken in charge of all that, but worshiping God and then preaching God's word, we can't stop. If God allows to continue, we continue on, keep the operation going on, going. So even though we have 2 or 3 families, 10, we still keep going, So yeah, make plan and appoint the person,
designated person that you trust, that you know had on mind. For instance, something happened to me, I know that somebody else I know that I trust can lead, you know, can take over. So
Yeah.
that's a plan we have.
Yeah, me too, Pastor. Ajahn, thank you. So we have 3 people now. We don't have to be prepared already. If I go, so have two people, you know, behind. So have Thong, have Buddha. So, you know, I'm thank God, you know, that's what I mean to be prepared already. So if God take me home, so I don't worry no more. So
Okay, that's good.
thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, let me go back to the lesson and so we come to now there's some advice for you leader in your team. They say that in order to prepare them for changes and in that tough situation, they say that be honest. Don't lie to them. Tell them the truth. Let them know the fact. Some people say, no, don't let them know because that they will scare them. No, this is the fact. This is the truth. They need to know. And sometimes even something bad happened to the church, the people have the right to know. Don't try to cover up because it's going to be worse. So be honest with your people, with your team. Allow time for learning. You know, a lot of time things need time to get in. If something serious happens, people need time to digest it, to really take it in. Sometimes they cannot believe it. They don't believe it. So they need some time. Make yourself available, mean that if you lead the team or you in one of the team, you all have to be available to help and to work with anyone who want to help. Set an example. So if you still have some leadership left, the team that left there still need to set a good example, mean that sacrifice your time, sacrifice to save the church or the organization. If you don't do that, nobody going to do it. If you don't care about it, nobody care about it. So you need to set a good example. Empathize, what that mean? That mean that have care, have love for one another, and feel the pain of everyone. Don't say that, don't cry, don't hurt. It hurt. And people hurt a lot when change come. So don't tell them it's nothing. It means so much to them. So understand them. That what Jesus said, that cry with the people who cry, laugh with the people who laugh. That means that you understand their feeling. You feel their pain. Don't tell them that it's nothing. You might heard that all the time in our culture. Adults always tell the kid that don't cry, it's nothing. For them, it's everything. That's why they cry. So instead of telling them that it's nothing, don't cry, tell them that we understand you. We know your pain and we cry with you. That's a better way. That it empathize their feeling, their hurt, their pain. So this fighting important for us, leader and your team. Be a good example, empathize, make yourself available, allow time for learning, and be honest. Sincere, honest to them, let them know, share with them, and ask their help. But you need to set a good example and understand their feeling. So as a team, this is what you have to do. And people rely on you. So is the whole church or the whole organization need to come to this point for the successful change. You cannot stop the change comes. You just need to live with it. Now they say that the first step for the whole church is acknowledge, understanding the need for change. It means that You cannot stop it. You just need to learn how to live with it. Mean that accept it and understand it, why we need to change. This is the first step. If the people don't accept the change, we cannot change. If the people don't understand why we have to change, they won't participate. So this is the first step. The whole church needs to accept and understand why we need to change, or why we need to accept change already come. You accept it or not, it's already changed. You cannot stop it. But this is the first step. Accept it and understand it. And this is the most difficult step. When people don't accept it, they cannot live with the change. And they cannot transitional from this point to another point, because they still live in the past. And this is so important though. If something real bad happened in your life when you was a young boy or young girl, and you don't accept it, now after 20, 30, 40 years, that thing still come to haunt you every day at your nighttime, at your dream. Until you have to accept it and understand it. And now you know how to live with it in reality, in real time, in real life. When you don't accept something that already happened, you live in dream, you don't live in reality. So this is the first step. Your whole church needs to understand that. And the second step is communicate the need and involve people in developing the change. The second step is we need to talk. The whole church, the whole organization, the whole team need to talk. And everyone have to take part in healing, in helping. Nobody can say that I don't get involved, I don't want to do anything. No, everyone involved, everyone heard. This change will impact every single person in the whole church or in the whole team. Develop change plan. Now we need to sit down and make some plan. What we're going to take a next step. Find some replacement, get some help, or do something. The whole team, the whole church need to decide together what is the next step. We need to do something. We cannot just sit there without doing anything. Change already come. What we have to do, response. Implement change plan. Now, the first step is top two. A lot of churches, organizations stop at number 3, mean that they already have a plan, but never do anything. Why? They are afraid. If they do, it will fail. Or if they do, it might be too difficult. Now you need to take the fourth step. Do it. You have a plan, so start doing it. You cannot stop. Number 5, evaluate the progress and celebrate success. When you evaluate, it might some failure. Then you go back and do it again until you have some success. Now you celebrate. So this is the 5 steps that you get to lead your church through the big change. Now I want you to come back and think about the 5 steps. Acknowledge, understand the need for change. Second, communicate with the whole church organization. People need to know and get involved. Number 3, make a plan. Number 4, do the plan. Do it. Number 5, evaluate. Now, this is the 5 steps you need to know. You can think of the problem that you're facing now or the change that you're facing now, how you deal with it, these 5 steps. Acknowledge, communicate, develop a plan, implement, and 5, evaluate. Okay, this is the 5 step. Whatever change that come to you, your church, your family, or organization. This is the 5 step that you need to do to deal with changes. You can raise a question and think that your church went through that 5 stage or not. Or your church stopped at step 1, stage 2, or step 3. Never go to 4 or never go to 5. And why? When your church have situation or have to deal with something, you never go through that 5 steps. You might try some, but give up. Why? Now I want to come back to you and ask you that, did you go through that 5 step that they recommend you how to deal with changes or situation, problem? Why you not go through all those? Why you stop?
To me,
Yeah.
I think two need the communication. To communicate, I think need more to play out more, more better to me. And 3, yeah, that kind of the same problem stuck. They cannot serve, cannot find any way to move out this plan. Kind of hard.
In the past, some students told me that they never overcome even step 1.
That's true.
Why they never get through step 1? Because a lot of people don't accept there's a problem. A lot of people don't acknowledge that we have problem. They don't agree with the problem or don't accept that we have problem. So now what can you do? If you're stuck on stage 1, how can you send a person to the hospital if they don't accept that they are sick? They say that I'm not sick, I'm okay. Now, how can you take them to the hospital? Put them in a straight jacket and hire someone to kidnap them to the hospital? Well, some rich parents do that to their kid. Now, I'll tell you the truth. Not 100% of your people will accept it. But if majority of your people accept it and see the problem, acknowledge it, you can move on. You cannot wait until 100% of the people acknowledge it or accept it. It will never happen. But you need majority of the people to agree with you that we have problem and we need to do something with it. Majority. Yes, Nathan?
I have an example. Hopefully that you will that can how can I say that it will help a little bit. We have one in English congregation. We have one sound system guy. He wants to do it, but he's not gifted at all. He's been sitting on that throne for, I don't know, like over 10 years.
15 more.
And he doesn't know how. And yeah, even me, I'm better than him, but he's so scared of me. And been telling our American pastor, said, the sound's not good. And then he said, no, I cannot. So he tried to talk to the guy, but he said, yeah, I will do it. And sometimes he said, have grace, have mercy on me, So and most of the time they said they have an elder meeting, but they always bring up, talk to the guy about the guy, say, you know what to do, and they have so much problem. And the pastor always said, no, I cannot do it. You know, I cannot do that. I cannot do it. Our pastor, he's really nice, too nice. So they end up just let him go about a month ago, 2 months ago. And after he left, we can have our new soundboard, everything. And we have 2-3 guys came up and, you know, serving and doing the job, and they're doing really good. And with the old guy that when he was there, he won't let people touch anything. So I think that's a really good change. You know, it's good change for good, in a good way, I would say.
He left because he doesn't know how to use the new sound system. He doesn't want to admit that he doesn't know.
We have sound system, we have a mixer, but so good he doesn't know how to use it. He always said mixer is not good.
Buy more, buy more.
Well, that's a real problem, and it happens all the time in every job, every organization. I don't mean that old dog cannot learn new trick. That saying always say that old dog cannot learn new trick. A lot of time it's true, but not all the time. But some old dog is too old to learn anything. So better retire. Yes, Pham.
I do believe people can change. People can learn if they be humble and give the life to God and really be, like you said, be honest. You know, don't cut corner. Don't, you know, things like that. Even old or young, I think as long as you have a heart to serve, your God will give you the will to do it. You know, but like Nathan said, that guy, we've been very patient with him. We try to work our way around him, try to see what's the best way, but he always so scared to ask, or he's too ashamed to ask.
Yeah, he's not humble at all.
Yeah. So when I felt like pretty much like he's not a reborn person, Christian, because if you've been there for 40 years and you said that's your baby, you know, things like that. If you're a baby, you have to learn how to take good care of it, you know. And I do believe people can change and people will have chance to improve, but only if they're humble enough to do it.
I think, like you said, Ajahn said, be honest. I think honest is really good. You know, if you don't know, say I don't know. You know, I don't know. We can learn together. You can teach me. That's how you learn. You know, if I don't know, I say I don't know. Can you teach me, or anybody know how to do it? That you teach me, or can work together, something like that. You know, but not here.
Yeah, after many years of meeting so many people, I found out that some people cannot learn. That's a fact. Some people cannot learn. That's all they can do. Even you try to teach them, even they want to learn, they still cannot learn. Unbelievable, but true. Some people cannot learn new thing. If you work with many people, you will know that some people have limitation of understanding, of skill. They cannot learn. And another thing is when we get too old, we cannot learn something too. Our brain stop function, our body stop responding, and we too slow in many things. So this is why when we get too old, we have to retire. I don't mean that stop working, but change job to do something that we still can do. We cannot do certain job when we get older. Not because we don't know, but you cannot do it effectively anymore. A lot of skill, yes, Nan.
Yeah, can I add something? You said that we cannot learn. I find that, you know, being part of the committee of the church, when something happened, you know, they throw to you and make you feel guilty at the same time. And it's a lots of endurance that you have to go through. And as you know, even though I'm not the leader, but you know, supporting my husband, they even come to me, you know, kind of, you know, make you feel so guilty that, you know, that leader left or that pastor left, and then you just have to carry it through. I mean, yeah, it's no other way, and then you will lose half of the church. That's what it is. Or, you know, like you said, nobody, they won't accept that. No matter how many times you explain, no matter how many meetings that you go through, there are some people, they will not accept that. You know, they're just going to blame you for it. And just like you said, it takes 3 to 5 years to be able to come back. And it's just not a nice thing. I'm sure every church, if they go through it, it's hurting. Even, you know, thinking about it, it's not pleasant at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it hurt, but that reality. And most American churches go through that situation. Yes, Nathan.
Achan, the way Nan described it, it sounds like they just, you know, for example, somebody they just don't like you, and they just find what excuses, try to blame on you, keep blaming until you die, until you just say, you know, I'm done, I'm leaving. And they say, hey, good job. It sounds like, you know.
It's okay to blame. You take the blame. Take the blame, and, you know, like Nan said, you know, have to be patient and have to be, you know, yourself. I know it hurt a lot, you know, but sometimes you need to, you know, like, be patient and, you know, let things work out, right?
I used to think when I was young that the church is a holy place, only good people there. But this is not the case. Even Satan comes to church every week too. Satan himself. So the church open to everyone, so you have to be prepared. Children of God and children of Satan mixed together. Jesus always said that the real thing and the fake thing always mix together until the last day. So you're going to face a lot of opposition, accusation, and problem.
I just say the good, the bad, throw up on me. I'm not angry, I'm not mad, you know, bring it, just say whatever you guys say, but, you know, I just take it day by day, you know, step by step, you know, that's how I feel.
You know, one thing that I learned since I was a young pastor is I'm serving God. Well, I don't want to continue to tell that I'm not serving you. Why I say that? Because people will hurt you all the time, and you need to know that why you're there. God put you there to serve Him. If they benefit out of that, that's good. If they don't, that's their problem too. You cannot concern morally about them too much. You try to help them, but to the point you need to learn that some will never learn anything. They're just there. It's sad, but the fact.
Yeah, it's so sad that, you know, you could see that those are who are not as grown spiritually, we lose them for sure. They will not come back, you know. I mean, I have a close friend. I thought that she's a strong, but then she's not, you know. I mean, it's a testing time for everyone. I mean, you know, I could see my husband was really stressed out, and every leader is, you know, we are just a small person. Imagine the other leaders, you know. I mean, you know, there's always that same questions starting over and over again. What did they do wrong? What happened? You know, I mean, I mean, they even come to me as a wife, just to try to see if they could get anything out. But it's the same. If the plain answer is that the same answer is, they can't accept that. That's the reality.
Yeah, Nathan.
Nan, can I ask you? So your husband is pastor?
No, he's just an elder. He's supporting the church. Yeah.
Wow, he's a really faithful man, really godly man.
Oh, he's just
He does
trying.
more than pastor, I would say.
Well, her husband is one of my students many years ago, and one of the leader of our church.
Yeah, he's one of our mentors. Ajahn brought him here in 1980, 84, 85, right, Ajahn? To the Sunset area, and he's the one that always, a lot of people remember him as Brother Achachan. Yes, Brother Achachan. That's his nickname that he gave him because he sing a song, Achachan. Isn't he wonderful? That's what it is. So they name your husband Achachan. So
those who do not know him, he's very loud and he's very funny, and he's not nothing Achachan. He's very clumsy.
Yeah, he used to lead music, play guitar at the group Bible study. I still remember. By the way, tell him I say hi too today.
So in those steps that you need to prepare your church or your team, which one that you think that the most important thing that you have to do? Acknowledge the problem, communicate with people very well, have a plan, implement the plan, and evaluate the plan.
All of them, Ajahn.
And most of the time you stop at which step? I did not hear you, Nan.
Say we stop at number 3, number 4, number 5. We never do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of churches just stop at step 1, and some churches pass step 1 and done at step 2. And some churches go to number 3, mean that have some plan, but never do anything. Well, some of you go to step 4. You did something, implement the plan, but never go to 5. Never evaluate that it worked or doesn't work. Or you need to adjust or improve anything. I think most churches never do number 5. So why is step so important that we have to do it? You don't need to have a big plan, but at least you need to do something. When you have problem, you deal with situation or changes. You need to do something. A lot of time we do nothing. And when we do nothing, we already did something. And most of the time, it's a bad thing. Why I say that? When we decide not to do anything, it means that we already did something, and that is the bad thing. Because when we decide not to do anything, it means that we don't acknowledge the problem. We never deal with, we have problem. And we never talk, we never communicate. People just gossip, just make rumor, and make things infected and make things worse. And number three, we already did something. We make things worse by don't deal with it correctly. It's like when you get sick and you don't go to the doctor and you say, leave it alone if you get well by itself. Sometimes, yes, your body try to fix it, but a lot of time the body cannot handle it. So we get more problem. Start with one, now we have second problem, third problem, and more. Until we go to the doctor, the doctor said too late to do anything. The disease, it go everywhere. Too serious. So the only chance is to let you die peacefully. And a lot of time it end up that way, slowly dead. Why? Because we think that do nothing is a lot easier than doing something. Yeah, Nathan?
John, I think a lot of churches, we don't want to face problem, and we just ignore the problem and hoping the problem will go away. Because if you try to confront the problem, people say, well, this is good, you will make it bigger, make it worse. So a lot of people, they just ignore it.
Well, ignoring not solving anything. But sometimes we can wait a little bit for things to cool down. But ignoring is not the way to solve the problem. We can wait a little bit, and then we have to deal with it anyway, sooner or later. The problem never go away.
Because again, if, for example, if we have one person that create a problem, either you go and face the person, and the person will go around and do gossiping, especially for Mian people. It will make it very big, so it's not good.
But it depends, they're gonna believe him or not.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. The problem is between two persons or him and the whole church. Why I say that, it's a different way to deal with that. If you look at how Jesus tells us how to deal with problem, it's just one-to-one first to deal with that. It's personal. If he listens, you can work it out. If he doesn't listen, now you get to elder, leader of the church to help deal with the situation. If they don't accept it, now the whole church need to decide what to deal with. It depends. If it's a personal problem, it might stop at the personal level. But if the problem affect the whole church, it have to come to the church to decide to. Okay, let's go back to check what else we. Okay, this is some more advice. When we have to live through uncertainty, sometimes we don't know we will face problem or not, or some insecure situation happen in church. Now they advise that we need to acknowledge the situation. So you see that this is always the first step. When we face problem or not so sure, we need to learn to accept it, that we in a situation that something happened. And the second step is try to find out why, what happened, and what we have to do with it, complicated or compact or not. So what the difference? Sometimes something is simple, but sometimes something is complex or complicated. They try to tell that it's not the same thing. But a lot of time it's just the same, similar thing. They might say that way. But they try to make it sometimes it's a little bit different. And the advice that let go of perfectionism means that don't need to deal in detail a lot of time. Get over, try to find out all detail, because things can keep changing. After you spend a lot of time on a certain point, the situation might change again. And you keep going back and forth, try to find out. So sometimes just get to the heart of the situation, but leave the detail. Resist over simplification and quick conclusion. A lot of time we always say, oh, simple problem. Oh, it happened all the time. Don't go to that conclusion, because every situation are unique. Every situation is different. So always put in mind that everything, every situation, every people problem is unique. It's not the same. Don't go it alone. Mean that get your team to get involved. Need help, the whole team need to help. Don't try to do everything yourself or by yourself and think that you can solve everything without any help. You always need help. Zoom out. Mean that sometimes you concentrate too much on the situation or to concentrate on one person. They say that sometimes you zoom out, mean that look at the big picture or surrounding. Sometimes that will help. Don't concentrate on one person or one detail of situation, but look out in general sometimes. That will help a lot more for you. Especially yourself, you will see things better. Sometimes you think that this guy is all the problem, but when you zoom out, you say, oh no, he's not the main problem. It many other things get involved. But you concentrate too much on him because he's too loud, he talk too much, or he the most main actor, but he might not be the main cause. Now, they say some do and don't. When you're leading people to change it, do share what you know. Don't keep secret. The whole team have the right to know what happened and what's going on. And they say don't forget to give time for question. Mean that people have the right to ask questions, and you have to tell them why, what happened. Don't hide anything. Don't try to change the thing. Be honest. Do outline the plan. They say that people need to know the step. Step 1, step 2, step 3, when we're going to do what and for how long. People need to get some idea what we're going to do. Don't try to tackle everything at once. Don't sum up everything in one time. Sometimes things need step slowly, doing something for a few months and wait and then do another thing. So take some time. Okay, thou mitigate conflict. So what that mean? It just means that conflict happen all the time. And be allowed to exist mean that you're always available and you will go a long way to help them solve the problem. That will help. So make yourself available and go with them to deal with that even personal situation if they're in your team and they always need your help. So you make yourself available and be flexible because problem can change, situation can change all the time. But don't fail to oppose great work. What mean? Celebrate. When something good happen, celebrate. Honor them and tell them that they have done a great job. Your team have worked hard and they earn your praise or reward. So don't just feel that it's their job. They have to do it anyway. A great job deserves great appreciation. So honor your team, your church, that they have done well. They work hard. So they earn it, your praise. Okay, this is the simplified version that I presented you. You can read all the detail and see that this is some guideline to help us go through all the difficult time or the changes that coming. And I want you to concentrate on a lot of things that you're supposed to do. The advice here, the 6 things that you need to do. Embrace the discomfort of not knowing. Don't feel that, well, I'm not happy. That part of dealing with problem. You always have to be acknowledge that it's not feel comfortable, not feel easy when you have to deal with situation or problem. That is the fact, that is reality. And then a lot of things complicate, a lot of things is just simple or complex. Things can change, and things that you see it today might change tomorrow. And don't try to be perfect in everything, because you cannot do everything as you plan. So be flexible. It's always here. And don't try to conclude everything too quick. A lot of time, give time and take time. How much time you need? Well, sometimes it needs as much time as it needs. You cannot tell that 2 months, 3 months. Sometimes it takes a lot longer. And then get the whole team to help you. Don't do it alone. Zoom out. Sometimes don't concentrate on the person or one situation all the time. Look out in the big picture. We don't have just one scapegoat. A lot of time things happen because of a lot of person get involved or thing. So don't blame one scapegoat or one scapegoat situation. So be prepared to deal with a lot bigger thing. Zoom out. Don't go it alone. Don't quick to decide. Don't be perfectionist. Know the situation complex or complicated. Accept the discomfort. It's similar to the last set that we know is about accept the problem, communicate the problem, have a plan, implement the plan, evaluate. But this is more about how you think to deal with the situation and how to help your team in general. Now, what else you learn after tonight? how to deal with changes that coming all the time. Now you learn a lot of advice. I want you to form up. What is your conclusion? A few things that you learn that you're going to use when you face situation like this. Change coming, a complication of situation. What step will you take? Now sum up your own step. You can mix what you learned tonight to make your own. And I know that different churches, different culture will need different steps. You might take longer time for a certain step because of your culture or because of your situation. And you might have to add on some step or skip some. Now, if I put you a question that if you have to deal with the Asian culture, when they're facing changes or situation, what step that you will take to help them deal with the situation or with the problem or changes? Now, most of us are Asian. How you deal with Asian culture? I think the first steps you have to be universal, mean that everyone need to acknowledge that we have problem or we have situation. You need to define the problem. So if we cannot come to that first step, I don't think we can do anything. If only you think that there is a problem and the rest don't think so, I think that you cannot do anything. So your whole team, or majority of your church need to come to the point that we have problem. And this is the problem. Now, what is your second step? What do we do after majority accept that we have problem or we need to deal with some changes? Talk, listen, that's the second step. Let people talk, listen to them, encourage them to share. You need to get on what they want to speak and whatever they want to share with you. The whole team need to get all the information that you can get. And don't try to simplify that the problem easy, no problem, or easy to solve. Because every time, even you deal with many situations or problem before, each time is different. How long you have to listen and talk and talk to them? Well, sometimes it needs a month, 2 months, or even longer until most people understand. Most people feel that they already share everything. You cannot have a certain time limit. But you might say that the problem is so urgent, we need to decide soon. So you can let people know that we have just a few weeks to deal with this. We need to listen, and you all need to share now that time that we have. I want you to look in the big picture. Don't try to find scapegoat. It's easy to target one person as a scapegoat or the bad guy that caused all the problem. A lot of times, they're a lot more complicated than that. It might not be the cause. It might be just a symptom. Like you go to the doctor and tell doctor, I have a headache. The doctor say Thai-Lao. And then you come back and say, I still have headache. Oh, Advil now. Now you go the third time, doctor still say, okay, you still have headache. Now they give you morphine or some other drug. So why don't the doctor try to find the cause? They just try to deal with the symptom. Stronger medication. They think that your pain will go away. But that's the symptom. They might stop your pain a short time, but the cause still there. They need not try to find the cause. Why I tell you this thing? A lot of time we at church or we at a team, we just try to deal with the symptom, not the cause. So we spend some time to find what is the cause of the problem or what is the cause of thing that happened that we need to change. If not, you deal with the wrong problem. Nothing solved. You might kill the patient by trying different medication. Might be too late. So take time to listen and to talk, to find out. And then what else you can do? Let people know many options that the church can take or the team think that we have to try. Why I say a few options? Because sometimes we always think that one solution will solve all, but a lot of time we need to try out. We don't know this will work or not. And every option we will have a price to pay. You need to think about the price and the thing that will get back, it's worth it or not. Sometimes they say that the medication kill the patient instead of heal the patient. Or sometimes the procedure kill the patient, not the disease. You ever heard that situation? The doctor tried too hard of the procedure. It's not worth the problem. For example, you go to the doctor and say that I have back pain. The doctor try all the medication and then they say, I need to operate on your back, surgery. And you have to think, well, it's worth it or not. Any surgery, it might cause more complication and the pain still there and you get worse. Will you take a chance? If medication can stop the pain for a while, you might keep the medication instead of surgery. So you need to weigh that the cost, the price, worth it or not. The doctor might try to help you decide, but you still the final say what you want. You can bear the price or the chance. The church needs to know that when we deal with changes, it might be better or worse. When you get married, the preacher always say that you're going to stick together even for better or for worse. Why? And you say, yes, sir, I promise. But a lot of time when it gets worse, we quit. Because we never think about it before we make a promise. Now, when you have all the options, you need to try, do it. Pick one and do it, but you have a few options. This one doesn't work well. You evaluate it and then try a new one. You have a few options. And evaluate, compare that which one will work best, help you the most, and help the church to live with that situation or the changes the best. You can try for a short time and see how it works. Okay, what else you can think of? I heard some people say that I won't do anything, I just trust God. So what that mean?
Well, you trust God. It's the right thing to do. Trust God always. But God said, be courage. No, David said to Solomon said, จงเข้มแข็งและกล้าหาญแล้วก็ลงมือทำ right? So you have to do your part. Trust God and do your part. Right, John?
Yeah, you have to remember what Paul say. If you don't work, don't eat.
Yep.
So you need to do something and then trust God to help you. You don't say that I trust God and do nothing. So you did not trust God. You're lazy. You know, people come to my garden, always say, oh, Ajahn is organic gardener. Never spray anything. I say, the fact is I'm lazy. But become the best thing because I never spray anything on my plant, on my fruit, because I'm so lazy to do that. But it turned out better that way. I'm more than organic gardener. I never water my plant too. Only God save them. So I call myself lazy gardener.
No, Ajahn, you're not lazy. You're too busy. You're busy taking care of your students that you don't have time to water your plants. Ajahn, I have one question. So
Yes.
we pray to God. We believe that we sought God's guidance and we take action. And if the action doesn't turn out that we want it, we say, oh, I think I didn't hear God well.
Well, sometimes even thing doesn't turn out that way. Doesn't mean that God did not lead you. Sometimes God intentionally lead you to that way. When God leads us, it doesn't mean that success every time. A lot of times God just want to teach us a lot of things. That's why we say trust God. Good or better. We do what God wants us to do.
So after we sought God's guidance and we acted, and it doesn't turn out the way we want it, we still believe that it's God's will.
Yes, if you follow all the steps correctly, you need to trust that it's God who in control. It's not you. You just obey God, do what you have to do, and then accept it. Yeah, Ben.
Ajahn, I feel like we have to learn from the new generation, Ajahn. If you see something wrong, say it. I know God is in your heart. He already tell you, say something, but you have to say it and stand up and say it. Like a young kid. Young kid nowadays, when they see people do something wrong, they say it, Ajahn. I think we have to follow them. We have to change the attitude. Because we are Asian, grow up in Asian culture. We don't say nothing. We try to keep it. I don't know. That's what I feel.
Yeah, it's good that we talk about communication. We need to share. We need to tell what we know, what we feel. And that is very difficult in our culture because we don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Right.
And we don't want to make people lose faith. But I believe that by the help of God, we can find a way to do it politely and respectfully. You find a way to tell people about something bad about them and they still feel happy and love you.
Not all the case, though, John. Most people, they hate you. You try to tell them. Tell them you meant to be good, to tell them, to warn them, but and they take it the defensive, offensive way, just like the course we just chapter that we just learned. The only thing we say is we wang di, but they take it the wrong way. Does that have happened to you guys?
It's always again. So that happen all the time. Sometimes we want to tell them it's a good thing, but they turn bad to us all the time. So but thank God, we humble with God. God give us humble, so that we have to solve it with the problem. We accept that the problem, so they come back to us. So this is a lot that come to in my life when it come to serve God. So we thank God, we try to mention to people about God, about how to change yourself, come to God. I have the one man, so almost 2 years. So I have to walk with him, tell him that come to church, come to Christ, very hard time, a lot of times, he point on you all the time. So we accept that, and I keep going and tell him again, stop. And one day I give him a Bible. Okay. He have Bible about 5 weeks, and he bring the Bible return to me. But after that 3 months, he come to church and he asked the Bible back. I give him, he use right now. So sometimes very, very hard, but one thing, I point, I give myself on the the guardrail, so that he the humble first, the humble first, and thank you. Thank you for say something. Okay, Nathan.
What it happened to me. It's like a lot of time we see things, and or maybe just by experience, by seeing things, we know that we tell that person, say, hey, don't do it, or something, just to advise that person, and that person doesn't listen to you. And after things happen the way we saw it, I said, well, you know, I told you, but you didn't listen to me. Or sometimes we try to guide that person the way to do things, but we try not to say directly, you know, and try to kind of say on the way that so hopefully that person will understand, but sometimes doesn't tell that person doesn't go the way we want it to. But you know, sometimes we just don't want to say too direct.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work with everyone.
Yeah.
So you see, even you know all the theory, you follow all the steps. It doesn't mean that you're going to be successful every time. But at least you get some idea of what you're supposed to do. And by God's help, that we hope, if it worked every time, we won't have a lot of split, a lot of problem at church. I believe that people try, but we still have problem. But you know that many books that coming out say that a healthy church is the church that live with problem and know how to manage them. And you know that the one that compare the one who gets sick all the time and the one who rarely gets sick. In the past, we think that the one who rarely gets sick because they never get any germ. And the one who gets sick often because they get the germ all the time, but in fact, it's not the case. They both get all the germ all the time. But why one gets sick all the time, one rarely gets sick?
Because one get immune to it.
Yeah. The one who their body fight back and can live with all the germ, control the germ very well. We all get disease, virus, germ all the time, but someone rarely gets sick. It's like in this COVID time, you see some never get sick, but some get sick all the time. In the same company or in the same church or even in the same family. Now we try to credit that to our genetic, but even from the same family, brother, sister, it's still not the same.
Can we say disease pick its victim?
The disease pick up everyone, but they cannot conquer some. Everybody have at war with disease all the time. Everyone. Like we deal with situation, change it all the time. Okay, I will stop here and give you some break to change to another class. We don't take the first break anyway. So you take a break and come back for church history. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye for some of you.
อาจารย์บ๊อบแต่ครับบออันlecture note
บ่ได้อาจารย์บ่เห็นนะ
บ่เห็นว่า
บ่ฮู้ว่า
Okay, today in session 8, we talk about still in the Middle Age, or I call the Dark Age of the church. Now this is from in the middle of the Dark Age to the end of the Dark Age, because at the end of the Dark Age, things will change. Mean that at the end of the Dark Age, we will have church reformation. But in the middle, you see, we talk about from the 8th century to the 12th is the very dark, mean that a lot of bad things happened in church history. Mean that the leadership in Rome take control of the church and use it as their personal gold mine. Mean that they make money out of the church. And they threaten a lot of people all over the world to pay them money in order to get out of hell and go to heaven. But now we go to the end of the Dark Age. Two big things happen. The first thing is they call the Renaissance. The Renaissance is the time that people start learning more about philosophy, about science, about literature, and a lot of things happen in Europe. And a lot of inventions start to happen. So we call Renaissance. It's also about the time of the revise about literature, art, and a lot of music, play start to happen all over Europe. That's a good thing that happened. But at the end of the Dark Age is the beginning of the Reformation. The Protestant will born at the end of this time. So in order to go to that point, the church will go down so bad, and the people feel it so rotten. The leadership in Rome, that I say that the Pope, the pastor of Rome Church, come from two families in Italy. And that two families relate to the royal family. They are the rich, powerful. They control politics, plus they control the church. They send their children to be pastor, to be bishop, to be archbishop, and even pope. How they get there? Well, money and power. In their selection, they make their own family sit in on the head, and then their own family select their own people to sit in the leadership. So they control the church, and they also control politics in the same time. So it means that they can threaten the people with hell and also threaten people with army, soldier. So they control everything, business, politics, church. Those few family, Italian family control everything. But now, as I say that things start to change because now France became more powerful. They have good army, they have a lot of money, and they want some say in the church. So now the fighting happened between the Italian and the French. They want their own people to be pope now. The Italians say, no way, we control the church. The French say, I have the money, I have the army. So if you don't want to let me be the pope, I make my own pope. So the time of Middle Age is a lot of strengthening. There are sometimes two popes or sometimes three popes in the same time. The pope in Rome and the pope in France and the pope in Germany. How can there are three popes in the same time? Well, each one want their own people to be pope. Why they want to be pope so much? As I say, the pope control the church, control the money, business, army, and many other things. The church have power over everything. So every big country want to have their own people as pope. And the war go on between France, Italian, and Germany. They all make their own pope. And each pope tried to take power away from another pope. So it's war. Little war, big war happen all the time because of the leadership at church fighting one another, poison one another, killing one another in order to take all the power to themselves and to their country. Now you see that this is not about the church now. It becomes politics more and more. And in that between those years, a lot of plague happened in Europe, like in the year 1348. There is plague, mean that disease that go all over Europe and millions of people die. It's like today we compare to SARS-2 or COVID that kill millions of people. In those days, there was no medicine and no vaccine or anything. When some village people die or some city people start dying, people just run away out of the city to be safe. So when they run away, they take the disease with them and spread out more and more until millions of people die each time. And another second big thing in this time is the war we call 100-year war between England and France. So the English islands start to get more power and more of the thing that they don't have in the past. You see France in the mainland of Europe, but England is an island away. And now the two countries become superpower, start building. And it's very interesting because for hundreds and thousands of years, England and France just they call wilderness, the country that hold no culture, no power, no future. But one day it just like wake up, England becomes superpower and France becomes superpower. How could that have happened? If you study the church history, you might say that God made them superpower overnight. Because for thousands of years, they are nothing. But one day, it just happened that they become superpower. Only God can do that. How they become that way? Well, it just happened almost overnight. It's like a lot of smart people born in those times in their country. Scientists, politicians, and all the smart guys just born in the same time in that country. And all the agriculture just go very well. The disease disappear, whatever they grow become 100-fold fruitful. Or any business they do becomes so successful overnight. So this is not natural. This is superpower that God make superpower overnight. Make England, make France, later on make Germany, and even Spain and Portuguese. They're all small countries. For thousands of years, they are nobody. But overnight, they become superpower. So this is not the natural way. We know that throughout the Bible, God select and make them become superpower for his own purpose. So now the war between England and France is last for 100 years. They keep fighting back and forth. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, but they keep fighting. Why? Well, they want to be #1 power in Europe and not stop there. Now, when big countries fight, what affect the church? A lot, because the church make money out of them. And the church always go between them and make peace. But now they don't care about the Pope or the church anymore, because they know that they can make their own Pope, or they can ignore the Pope in Rome. And now the power of the Pope start have problem now. In the past, they can threaten them. The Pope will send the king to hell. But now they don't care. They say that I have my own Pope who can unlock my hell and take me to heaven too. So it's not just the Italian Pope can do it now. The English, the French Pope, the German Pope can do the same thing. So they say, I don't care about the Italian Pope anymore. Now this is the problem with the Roman Pope. How can you control them? Well, the Pope in Rome just keep threatening people and say that I am superpower. I am the descendant of Peter, the first Pope that Jesus anointed. You are not. Well, the Italian Pope can say whatever he wants to say, but the people in England, in France, in Germany don't care much, especially the king, new prince or princess, they don't care because they know that they can make their own Pope and they can have the power themselves now. All the money, all the power end up with them. So you see that in the past, the Pope always say that we are Roman descendant. We are part of Roman Empire. But now all the people in England, in France, in Germany, and many other countries say that we are English. We are Great Britain. We are French. We are not Roman. Now the feeling that we are unique people, we are not just part of Roman anymore. Only the church will claim that you are part of the Roman because they call themselves Roman Catholic. So they try to unite all Europe under the umbrella of Roman kingdom. It's just in the dream. The church in Rome just still have that dream, but the reality, the people in Europe don't believe that way anymore. Now the people in Europe start, as I say, that new invention, new technology at the end of the Middle Age or the end of the Dark Age. And now more people like Wycliffe and Huss, who are they? They are the Catholic priests. They are the scholar who learn Latin, and then they go to college. And I say that in the Middle Age or in the Dark Age, one thing at the end happened is every country start their own university and teach in their own language besides Latin. You see, the Pope forced everyone in Europe to learn Latin and say that this is the language of the Roman Empire. But now all the native people in Europe want to learn their own language. The people in England want to learn English. The French want to learn French, and the German want to learn their own language. And they have their own school, their own university. Start teaching people. Besides Latin, they learn Greek. So they read the Bible. And they learn their own native language too. Now, when they know Greek and they know their own language, what they will do? Naturally, they want to translate the Bible from Greek into their own language. Yes, the original language of the Old Testament is Hebrew. But about 500 years before Jesus' time, the 12 leaders from 12 tribes of Israel translate the Hebrew Bible into Greek. They call that version Septuagint. And even in Jesus' time, people quote from that version a lot. The Old Testament in Greek version. And that's available. All the people learn Greek, even they don't know much Hebrew. They can translate the Bible from Greek into their own native language. And that's a big door that opened to them. This is the first time that not only the leader who know Greek and Hebrew and Latin can read Bible. Now when they translate into their native language, the simple people can read, understand the Bible too. Now the leadership in Rome not happy. They tried to shut down people for thousands of years without knowledge of the Bible. Now people start learning Bible that threaten them. People will start knowing that the leadership in Rome don't teach them the truth of the Bible, but teach them the religion of the Roman. What the difference? It's a big whole world difference. As I said before, that the leadership of the Roman Empire decide to be Christian not because they believe in the teaching of the Bible, but to follow the emperor and to keep control of their power, of their benefit. So the day Constantine declared that he want to be Christian, every leader in the Roman Empire also declared that we will join the emperor, we will become Christian too. How they join it? Well, the next day, all the priests of the Roman temple come out and change the name of the temple from Zeus, from Hercules, from Diana, from whatever god they worship to be Saint Peter, Saint John, Saint Joseph, Saint Mary. And inside all the statues that used to name Zeus, Hercules, Diana, Cupid, or anything, now changed to be Saint John, Saint Peter, Saint Joseph, Saint Mary. This is how they became Christian. They recycle the temple. They recycle their statue. And what they do? They still worship all those idols with a new name. They still do all the Roman ceremony, but add the Christian name to it. And they adopt some Christian culture into their temple and claim that now we are Christian. No, they are not. But outside, practically, it looks that they are Christian now. But they are not. They have been doing that and lie to people for 1,000 years. And people accept it, buy it, because people don't know the Bible. They never teach the Bible. Because they themselves never read the Bible. And they don't care. And they don't want people to know the truth. But the truth coming out, the fact coming out, because people start reading the Bible and find out that what the Roman Church teach them is not Christianity at all. Now more and more people want the real thing. This is why Wilkrit, later on we will have a Wilkrit translator society all over the world. It comes from this guy who start translating Bible from Greek into English simple language. But he won't live to see his hard work. Why? Because the Rome leadership will come after him and send the hitman to catch him and burn him alive as stacks. But Hutch is more luckier. He translates part of the New Testament into his native language. And they cannot find him. He hide well, and he not die. He have seen his work done. But you know, to translate the Bible is not have big impact, because the Bible in those days, after you translate it done, you need another guy to copy it. How long it will take to copy the whole Bible? To make the second copy, it takes several years. So if you want a 100 copy of Bible, how many years you're going to take? Several hundred years. Even you hire 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, they can do 1 copy in 2 years. Now, how many years you need to take for the majority of people to have Bible or to read Bible? Impossible. So now another invention will come to help them. Printing shop. Printing shop is invented in Europe around this time. But you know that throughout history, the Chinese have printing shop more than 1,000 years already. The Chinese already print a lot of Buddhist teaching or Taoist teaching through their printing shop. The Chinese already know how to do the printing 1,000 years before the European. But you know, the bad thing about Chinese technology is they don't tell anyone. They don't share with anyone. They keep it secret for themselves. And a lot of technology of the Chinese die with them because they're so stingy. They want to share with the world. And that is the bad idea and thinking. You invent something and you hide it because they want to keep it to make money for themselves. They don't think about the whole world will benefit out of it. But the Europeans have different idea. When they invent anything, they share with the whole world. And this is the foundation of today's internet technology. When they invent something new, they share it free to the whole world. Why? So everyone take it and improve it, make it better. And this is why no new technology today is free. So the whole world can share and improve it, make it better for the benefit of the whole world. And this is idea start in Europe too. They start learning how to make printing shop. Mean that instead of copy one by hand one at a time, they make the letter, put together, and then print one page at a time. How many times faster? How long it take you to copy one page? Oh, it take a long time. But in printing shop, in the same time, how many pages you can print? 1,000 and 1,000. So with the help of the printing shop, the Bible, New Testament Bible, will go all over Europe. In English, in French, in Czech, in many other languages that they start to translate. And now the truth of the Bible will go all over Europe. And even simple people can read. Anyone who has some education in the language, or if they don't know how to read, someone can read to them. And now they can understand the Bible in their own native tongue. The first time in history that people know Bible. And now the fact come out, the church, the leadership in Rome cannot stay still now. They need to find a way to survive. Well, at first they warn the people, stop printing, stop translation, that the devil work. This is the holy book of God. Nobody can touch, nobody can translate. Well, nobody accept that teaching of the Rome Church anymore. So now, if the warning, threatening doesn't work, now they send a hitman. Who translate the Bible, kill them, burn them alive. Who print it, burn them, destroy them, take all their property, put their family in jail. They're not threatening anymore. They send hitmen all over Europe, try to kill everyone and shut up everyone, burn down everything in order to preserve their power and the money. But you cannot stop it. It's not just a leaking anymore. It becomes a storm that breaks the dam now. This is why in modern day we call Renaissance. All over Europe, God start their thinking that they want knowledge, they want to learn new things. And all over Europe, all the college, university start teaching new things, new technology, printing shop, Bible, new science, all the new things that God make it happen. Well, in Rome, among all the leaders of the church, they still keep fighting one another. Who's going to be the next leader? Well, as I say that in Italy, in Rome, just two families take turn. And sometimes they say that the one that you select too young, he going to be pope for a long time. We cannot wait that long. Well, they have find a shortcut. They poison, kill that pope. Some pope just last a few days, some pope last a few months. So they keep poisoning one another. So that guy will get power and make money for the family from the clan. It keeps going on for a long time, but reform need to come sometime for survival. And even the church in Rome know that they need to do something. If not, they cannot survive long. So a lot of crises happen. Besides the threatening of the nationality in Europe, each country want to be independent from the Rome Church, from the Roman Empire, to be their own country. And beside that, the knowledge of the Bible starts spreading out. And the people who know the Bible, know the fact, know the truth about the wrong teaching of the church, want reform, want the church to change. Now the church tries to find a way to get out of this situation. A lot of things happen. Reformation come very close. Now all the leader from Germany, from France, from England, from Switzerland, who are priests who went to study, and most of them have doctorate degree from Rome. They learn Latin, they learn Greek, and they learn Hebrew. They come back home and start translating Bible themselves, and they read Bible, study Bible themselves, and they know the truth. They want to lead the people to reform the church. You see that all these leaders don't want to change the whole church. They just want the church in Rome to accept the fact and teach the truth. They don't want to destroy the church, but they might have no choice because the leadership in Rome don't want to reform. They just want to cling to power and money as long as they can get. Why? Because they themselves are not believers. They themselves don't know the Bible, and they don't care to learn the Bible. They want to live the lifestyle and claim themselves to be the leader of the church and the guardian of the Bible, but in fact they are not. Now the Reformation happened. Until the end, all these leadership who came back to their country start teaching the Bible. And as I say, that with the help of the printing shop that go over Europe, they make the translation available to people, one page at a time, because the printing shop of those days can do printing one page at a time too. So at least they start going out one page at a time or one chapter at a time of each book. And they start distribute, sometimes free, sometimes really, very cheap. And people can buy it and read to the whole family or the whole village. It become very popular because there is no other entertainment. But when the Bible print out and go to each village, when someone come and read to them, the whole village love to come to listen to the Bible. And now they say, what the church never teach us, what the church never tell us about this thing. Now, in Germany, Lutheranism started by Martin Luther. But in fact, at first, they don't call Lutheran Reformation. They just call him Martin Luther Revolution or Reformation. The word Luther will he dead. The movement is not used until the day he died. But anyway, he the main leader in Germany. He the Catholic priest, and he very devoted, good student, and stick to the real teaching of the Bible. So he cannot stand the church that reject the real teaching. He challenged the church to debate from the Bible, but the church instead sent a killing team after him. So he ran away from place to place, from city to city for his life. But God protect him. And now the German princes want independence from Pope and from the Rome power. They support Martin Luther secretly, hide him, protect him, so he survived that way. Because this is time God want to clean up the church. This is in Germany. Martin Luther keep running to survive for all his life. Now Calvinism where it start. It start in Switzerland by a French, John Calvin, is the Catholic priest too. He also have a doctorate degree in both civil law and in law of the church, mean that he hold doctorate degree in regular as a lawyer. And he learned Bible until he get the doctorate degree in church. So he a very smart guy. And he start reading, translating Bible and tell the people in France is not safe because the Pope have all spy everywhere. So he ran away to Switzerland to write his teaching, translation, and print a lot of things from Geneva in Switzerland. I have a chance this last 2 months went to visit his church in Switzerland and see the church that Martin Luther go there to preach to high too last 2 months ago. So it is something to feel the feeling that I stand at the church that John Calvin preached or teach the people, or Martin Luther come and hide there. So Calvin wrote a lot of teaching, and today we have a lot of collection about his preaching, his teaching, become a big volume of theology that later on a lot of denomination will use his teaching at their foundation to build, like the Reformed churches, the Presbyterian churches. Their theology will be based on John Calvin writing. So the third one, we call them radical reformation. So why we don't call John Calvin and Martin Luther radical? Because Martin Luther to keep a lot of culture tradition that the Roman Church have. The stand of Martin Luther is anything that not against the Bible we can keep. Anything against the Bible we throw them away. So you go to Lutheran Church, you still see a lot of Catholic stuff in there, even some statue. Because they say anything that not directly against the Bible we can keep. But you go to Calvin and the radical Reformation church, like later on we see the church that keep this idea. They throw away everything. They go to the Roman church and throw away all statue, all decoration, until they have only the empty room. This is the radical Reformation. They won't keep anything to remind them about the Roman church. They just want the empty room to worship God. Don't have any statue, don't have any painting. They go all the way. to clear everything. So they call Martin Luther a halfway reformation. But all the radical want to change everything back to the native church or the original church in Jerusalem. Mean that empty room, a house church. This is the radical one. Now, Anglican is another thing. Anglicans will be from English Reformation. Now you see that in German, in France, in Switzerland, the Reformation started with long teaching of the Rome Church that they want to get away from. But the Anglican in England happened because the king wanted to divorce his wife and marry to another queen. But his wife turned out to be the niece of the Spanish king, who at that time is also called the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. This is the title given to some king that give him a lot of money or power. So in order to divorce in those days, the Pope need to sign a letter allow the king to divorce. The Pope say no, because your wife is the niece of my good person, my good servant, the emperor of the Spain. And the Pope give him the title of the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, meaning that he is the favorite king in Europe for the Pope. He sent his army for the Pope to protect the Pope and to do the hitman job for the Pope. So the Pope said, no, the King of England cannot divorce his wife. But the king divorced anyway and remarried. And by doing that, the king already declared independent from the Roman Church. And the king made himself the Pope of Anglican Church. He said that I don't need a Pope, Italian Pope. I can be my own Pope in England. So the Anglican is the English Reformation, not because of theology different, but because the king wanted to divorce his wife and make himself Pope of England, but he called himself guardian of the church. But by title, he is the Pope of England, the king. And who make him? He make himself. He said that all the popes also do that themselves too. So why not I do mine? I am the Pope of English Church. Later on, they call Anglican Church. Now, what the Roman Church need to do to survive? Now, a lot of the leaders say that, oh, the people know the fact, the truth now, what we can do. Now we need to do something. We need to adopt more Christian teaching and culture, tradition into the Roman Church to make it look like a real Christian now. We cannot lie to them anymore. They know the truth now. So now they start teaching some Christian teaching. I add more, but they don't throw away their old Roman religion. The foundation of the Roman Church still the same thing, Roman religion, but add on Christianity now to make it look more Christianity. You might say that you go to China, go to Thailand, you can buy all the brand name products, but with 90% discount. It looks the same, but it's still the fake one. But nobody can tell. You can take all the brand name purse or the brand name watch, but with just 10% of the real price. Why? Because it's a fake one. Now the Roman Church do the same thing. They copy Christianity. Look outside the same, have some teaching, some name, look all the same, but they're still the fake Christian. They're not the real Christian. They're still the Roman religion that try to adapt to survive. They do their best job. And even they have a lot of meeting they call council. Why? All the leadership come and talk how we going to convince the people to stay with the Roman Church. And all the leaders say that we need to add more Christian teaching, we need to add more name and add more Christian tradition into the church to make it look even real. Even you go to Thailand, you buy a cheap flag or the expensive flag, it still can different. The cheap flag, you can tell right away that it's fake, but the expensive fake one is cannot tell unless you are the expert. So now the Roman Church going to be a very complicated fake now. Simple people cannot tell the difference now, that they are not a real Christian or a real Christian, unless you really know the Christian teaching. Because they very complicated. They do everything for several hundred years to survive, make their fake look so real, taste so real, feel so real now. They take several hundred years to do all this good job. But at the same time, I don't mean that the simple people who go to church are all fake. They are sincere people, most of them, but they know nothing. But I believe that some of them who concentrate on God or the Bible instead of the tradition or the leadership, they can fight God too, because they are innocent. And they're really looking for a real God. I believe that some of them will fight God too, even in the fake church. And if you read on, you will see that each Pope of Rome come into the power and try their best to survive and try to save the church with all things that they can do. And some of the Pope even have a lot of knowledge of the Bible, because now they start teaching the real Bible in their seminary. And some of them really pay attention learning the Bible. And they know that the church is far away from the real teaching. They try to change some, but a few of them cannot change the whole system that collapsed for thousands of years. How can you change something that collapsed for thousands of years when you have just a few years to do it? It's an impossible task. Here, a section I call Catholic Reform. Now this is surviving mode. They need to do something in order to survive. They will do anything, pay any price to save their power. Now they will take more Christian teaching into their church, but still, like Jesus say about the Pharisee, you teach the people the truth, but you don't do it. Now the leadership in Rome in that situation now, they start teaching the real Bible now, but they don't do it. They don't practice it. Why they do that? Well, people know the truth. You need to tell them the real thing. But in practice, in the real life, they don't do it. They do all these things just to survive. And another reformation that we have seen among other Catholics is now they start doing more social work. A lot of the leaders say that, okay, we can win over the simple people by doing social work. Give them free food, give them shelter, and give them help. And that will keep them because they care more about to survive. A lot of poor people all over Europe, if you feed them, they will stay with the church. So this is another way. And you give them free education to their kids, the poor people will come to church. So teach them at church. Let them bring the kid to church and teach them some education. So this is now you see that the way they try to keep the people with them is by free food, free education to the poor people. So this is the way you reach out to the mass, to the poor, to the one who know nothing. to keep them in the flock. And this is another way they found out to survive. And it worked. They have school from elementary up to college. And a lot of poor kids will join them. And if you want to go up to college, you can be the priest. They give you education free food, free room, free board, and stay with the church your whole life. So this is the way that they reach out, and it worked. But among them, I always say that some real believer who really fight God or love God, there always some. You cannot say that now because they allow the real teaching to get into the church and to people who want to learn. Some of them will fight the truth and fight God. Now on the top, they try to change, reform the Pope. Now I say that the position of Pope in the past 1,000 years something belong to two Italian families. They take turn. Now the people from outside in other part of Europe want to get to that position, but it's not easy. Why? Because the Pope surround himself with all the cardinal, that all his friends, his family. And the cardinal is the one who select the next Pope. So now when you have the whole team that your family, your friend, how can you change the new Pope? Well, it's just by luck. When two of the Italian family who take turn become Pope cannot agree the next Pope because they poison each one too many times and they don't trust anyone anymore, they need to find the third man, the one who not related to family, to come in to be Pope while they're fighting. And this is the chance. Sometimes they put the German to be the Pope, or sometimes they put the French to be Pope. And they want that German or French to just stay at the Pope for a short time until they can agree. But the French, the Germany, who become the Pope so smart, know how to survive. Don't stay in Rome because they will poison you to death. So live somewhere else. And with your own people, you will survive long. And while you survive living in France or living in Germany, make more cardinal of your friend. Replace all those cardinals that are Italian with friends with Germany. Why? So next time when they select a new Pope, your friend will select the friends of Germany. This is the way the politics go on. But it's not easy, but sometimes they're successful. They make some changes. So the new Pope, if you are Italian, you will select all new cardinal Italian. But you are French, you will select all the new cardinal are French. You are German, you can guess all the new cardinal will have come from Germany. That's the way to control the church. Now you go to the top. The problem now, the simple people reform a lot. The church try to change, but the leadership don't change much. That's the main problem of the church. The leadership from the top down don't change much. You cannot change them because they come from a few families who control the power for thousands of years. They don't want to lose it. They will do anything to keep their power because it's not just power, not statics, not just status, but the way to make a lot of money. Money, that's what they want, and power. And here at the end of the chapter, I mentioned a lot more about how the church spread out to many parts of Europe, everywhere. You see that Roman Empire end around the 9th or 10th century. Practically, the Roman Empire died. But the Roman Church keep the name Holy Roman Empire for these 2,000 years. Why? Because this is the way to keep their power. This is why they call themselves Roman Catholic, the Church of the Roman. So the empire need to go on. Even in practical way, it's already dead. But the name in the spirit sense still stay with the Roman Church. And what happened? From time to time, the Pope will appoint the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire from France, Spain, Germany, and anyone who can support the Pope the most. So this is the price that the Pope will give to the King of Germany, France, or Spain, or Portuguese. You want to be the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire? Serve me, work with me, and I will give you the reward to be the Emperor, the title. But in fact, in practical, it's nothing. But for the status to brag about is a lot. So the King of France, the King in Germany, and the King in many other European countries love to have that title, but have to pay the high price. Money, support the Pope with the army, wherever the Pope want to send them to kill someone or to put down the Pope enemy. So this is. And another good thing is when the Pope send the priest with the army, the French, the Spanish, wherever the Spanish go to conquer the land, the priest will go with them. They go hand in hand because the Pope and the Emperor work together. The soldier conquer the land and the priest will conquer the heart of the people. Why what? The Spanish will say that you want to give up or die. You want to submit to us or die. The country will say, okay, we submit to you. We pay the price. We will be your slave. And the priest will come with another question. You want to get baptized or die? Now, what is your choice? Baptized to be a Catholic or die? Which choice you want? The soldier won't kill you, but the priest will kill you. So this is the way to spread the Roman religion all over the world. Wherever the Spanish conquer, wherever the French conquer, the priest will go with them. This is why you see that wherever the Spanish rule, the Catholic Church will go with them because they work hand in hand to support their leadership and their church. So you have no doubt that why the Spanish conquer Central America, South America, and all the Roman Church conquer them too. And wherever the Spanish troops take over the land, the Roman Church will take over their heart. Everywhere, they work together. And the Roman Church might call them all the missionary, as Jesus commanded us to go all over the world to tell people about salvation. They might say that, but in fact, they go there to make more land, more power, more money, wherever they go with the army. They go to all over Eastern Europe, but they're not so successful because Eastern Europe, like all the Russian and all the Slav people, a lot of them will decide to join the Eastern Empire Church. You remember that the Constantinople Church that spread out from the Rome Church because Constantine built a new capital in Constantinople. before he died. And he set up a church over there. He wanted Constantinople to be a new capital of the Roman Empire, but he died young. So his plan not so successful, but he have set up a big part of the land over there. And the land become a center of churches in the East for 1,000 years, even after his death, because he spent a lot of money to build a big capital there. And a lot of Romans moved there, and the Greek also lived there. So the church between the East and West will keep fighting, but the Roman church in the West won over the war because the Western Europe support the Roman church. The Eastern Europe support the Constantinople church, but the Eastern Europe are poorer and don't have power to support the church. And some now, among the Catholic, some new group that start by the priest will continue emphasize about education and social work that the Pope or the leadership in Rome want them to do. When you start a school, just simple teaching. And if you want to start any seminary, the Roman church, Roman leadership in Rome need the control of that. But if you want to just teach a simple education to the native, okay, you can do it. But when you want anyone to learn about Bible or to be a priest, you need to send to Rome. The Pope need to consecrate and anointed each one of the priests, meaning that you cannot do it yourself. The leadership in Rome still control on that. Even today, you cannot do it yourself. You cannot ordain any priest yourself natively. The Rome church need to do that for you. So this is how they control the priests all over the world. And there's some more fighting amongst the Roman church from the leadership from German, from French, and they have different names because of different leadership from German or from France. And they call the movement from the leadership name. And you have all the real name. It's the German words, sometimes it's French words. It's just the name of the leader of the group that try to challenge the Pope in Rome. Some of them successful in some form, but a lot of them never have much impact on the church in Rome. Now at the end of the Middle Age, you will see a big problem that start and getting bigger is the leadership of the state, like the king, the queen, the prince of European country start fighting with the Pope themselves. Why? They want freedom from the Pope. In the past 1,000 years, the Pope controlled them, mean that in order to be king, queen, or prince, the Pope need to lay hand on their head and bless them. Without that, whatever they claim is illegitimate. So without the Pope blessing, nobody can be king, queen, or heir of the European throne. But now all the king, queen, princes of European country want freedom from Pope. So they support their own priest, their own church. Plus, they will make war with the Pope to be independent from the Pope, from the leadership. And this is the big threat to the leadership in Rome. They try to find a way to compromise now by give freedom, some freedom to the king, the queen to do something. but a lot of time the king, the queen want full freedom from the church. But the church say no, we still need some relationship. So the fighting will go on, and the bargaining, compromise will come to the point. And here in this section, we will spend time talking about the Pope himself. How about he start losing power more and more? And to the point that he become just a symbol. Because all the king, the leadership in Europe ignore him now. But his real power is still with the church, the Roman church that spread all over the world. He still control the power, mean that all priests need to be ordained by him or appointed by him only. Nobody can ordain any priest. So this is something that he still hold on power. And all the priests will need to come to get his blessing all over the world. And now you know that that is the link that he still control over the church all over the world, the Roman church, wherever you are. And the money that you get, part of them need to send to Rome to support the Pope. So that is something that the leadership in the Roman church will control over the Roman church all over the world. Okay, this is a long lecture of 41 pages. But you know that some chapter is 150 pages. So I don't know, we can finish them. But we will try our best. You can read them in advance. I will just jump from point to point and hopefully finish 150 pages. I don't know that will happen or not. Okay, I know that all of you are numb now with millions of names. But I just want you to know the main theme of the story. The detail is okay. It might take several years to sink into your brain. You know that I studied church history for the last 50 years. It takes a long time for me to know everything and all the facts to sink into my head. And all the name before I get used to all the name. It takes many years. You know that when I first take church history 40 years ago, I don't know anything, all the weird name. So I expect that it might take you 10, 20 years from now to get a lot of the name into your head. So don't worry if you funk the class. I won't funk you, but you might funk yourself. If I give you a multiple choices of all the name, I think most of you will funk. All the year that this thing happened, that thing happened, I think you funk too. But what I expect from you is just some understanding about what happened throughout the church, that 2000 years. The main idea, why we are what we are today. What happened, major thing, what happened. And the real church always there, but it's underground most of the time. Because the church above ground is not the real church.
This is a lot to remember, John. It takes years and years, still don't remember it, or even we go through them, study them, but yeah, don't remember all of them. It's hard.
Well, just enjoy as much as you can because they have done so much for us. They have laid a foundation, and a lot of them sacrificed their life for the real church. So we not know them personally, but we indebted to a lot of them.
Yeah.
And we can learn how they sacrifice for God and for the real church.
Yep. We thank you. We thank you for their sacrifice. Their life. You know, all those lives have been lost. A lot in the history of the churches.
And you might surprise that how Satan get into the church and control the church for so long. I mean, the above ground church. I don't mean the underground church always have Jesus though.
I think God allowed it, John, to sharpen the believer and to sharpen the church, to spread the church.
Yeah, the church survived this 2,000 year underground most of the time. It's not just now you say that church in communist country underground, but the real church is underground for 2,000 years. It's always real church, real people who know God, worship God underground. You ever think of the church history this way? The real believer, the real church is underground for 2,000 years.
So what you're saying right now, also the real church is underground.
Well, we have more freedom now. You see, since the Reformation, a lot of real people in some country have freedom to worship God above ground.
Like in America, we have worship God above ground. And in other countries, been persecuted, like in Islamic country, all the Christians been persecuted and tortured and burned down the church.
Yeah. So we who born later, we a lot luckier than them. We have all the freedom to worship God, but we don't appreciate it. Why the people in the past don't have that freedom?
I think too much freedom makes people lazy. Right, John? Make people you know, don't take God seriously. If in other countries like they have persecution, make the church strong, make the believers stronger.
You heard the story that the Christian leader in China talked with Christian leader in America. The Christian leader in America talked with Chinese Christian leader, say that, oh, we're praying for you, you suffer so much. And you know what the Christian leader in China say? Tell us, you don't need to pray for us, we're praying for you. You need to pray more than us.
Yep.
Why they say that?
Yeah, that's true. Ajahn, like a Christian in Lao, you know, they have no freedom to read, no freedom to go to church, but they grow up fast, you know. Strong belief.
Yeah.
But like us in United States, we have freedom, everything. We have nice car to drive to church, but no one go to church. But they over there, they walk, walk to church. Every month we have a group in Laos. They have the prayer. They have prayer meeting over there. They're fasting, and they to us and they pray for us, in here. We try to support like young people in Laos. They have like a sport ministry, and every month new like the young people come to believe and baptize.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So here we have all the blessing money to send out to support the mission in Thailand, in Laos, in Vietnam, in China, in many other countries.
Yeah, that's where we have like opportunity to to support them. We don't have chance to go, and we support by money.
So now you have any idea, the church in America, what should we do?
John, if we can go out, if we can find any way to support the missionaries around the world, if we can. I think that's the best way of doing it, praying for those missionaries.
You know that America is a mission field. You know that how many people in America are real Christian?
Maybe 10% of the population, John?
I don't know too, but you see that up to 80% of Americans claim themselves Christian, but I don't think that they are real Christian.
How about Christian in the South Korea, John? They have strong faith in Laos. Most people like a missionary from South Korea.
South Korean have about 50% of their population are Christian, and I think most of them are real ones.
Yes.
Why you know they are real?
They concentrate about like a praying, they have a strong group of praying and
yeah, they read Bible, they study Bible, they obey the Bible, the words of God. But the church that obey just leader is not a real Christian.
That one we don't know, John. We cannot judge them, but only God knows, right? They're real or not. God can see their heart, or God can see how they, really true believer or not.
Yeah, finally we can use that, but the Bible says that you can tell the tree by their fruit.
Yes.
Good tree bear good fruit. Bad tree bear bad fruit.
Yeah, we just talk about that. You know their fruit. That was last Sunday. There was the Bible discussion in Matthew chapter 7. If you say you're a real Christian, you have to show your spiritual fruit.
Okay, you have any more comment or question for tonight? How about the project of this class? Do you understand how to do the project of this class?
How do you want us to do this project, Ajahn?
Well, I think in the syllabus tell you need to write the history of your church that you pick up. You choose a church that you want to write the history. And also this class demand you to interview, or maybe different class. You have to interview 3 leadership, maybe in different class or this class, different class. The supervision that you need to interview 3 leaders.
And the 3 leader can be the same page, the same report.
When you interview leader, you need to separate them out. One person, you write a report on them, but you can combine them into one paper, but each section is for different leader. Yeah, you can put them together in one report.
How soon do we need to do the interview?
You should do it as soon as you can, because don't wait until the last minute and then you cannot make appointment with them. So think about them and you can start now.
Yeah, when's the due date?
Yeah.
Like what day is the due date?
Oh, at the end of this class, maybe early December, or if you need more time, I can extend it 2 more weeks. So until the middle of December.
Okay.
So you see, we have almost around 2 months. Okay, have anything else to mention before we're done for tonight?
For leader interview, is that how they become a leader and how long they've been serving, or what church?
I think I have some guideline in the syllabus. It just say that you ask them about their problem, how they lead, how they supervise, and how they solve the problem. A lot of things about how they become a leader. Yeah, you look at the guideline, but you can, if they tell you different stories, okay, you can write down what they think, because each one have different experience. That's just the guideline. You don't need to make them answer every question if they feel that their life's different. So honor the differences, just put what they tell you. And I give you freedom. It can be leader at church, leader in business, or outside the church too.
So we do 3 or we can do 1 only?
3.
Do all 3? Okay, so one.
So I want you to learn from different perspective because each one is different. How they go to the top, how they become successful. Okay, any more questions before we done for tonight? Okay, if not, let's pray. Loving God, we thank you again for tonight. We spent a lot of time together to learn a lot of things. Help us that we can learn a lot of things that we can use for your church and for our personal life. I lift up everyone before you, support them and give them the wisdom to understanding and guide them every day in their ministry until we come back again. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
And
Okay.
thank you, Ajahn. Good
Bye
night,
to all of
everyone.
you. Have a good week. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.